Hello, welcome to Staring to the Abyss. I'm your host, Richard Gerlach, and with me is a new entity in this podcast. It is Billikens.
Hello.
It's Vitlame's evil twin.
Yes. You might be wondering why she has been so absent so lately. It's because I poisoned her.
Yep, and now we're stuck with Billikens. So enjoy. It might be a bit different, but we'll still get the same commentary in. And this,
yeah, probably.
I feel before we get started, I just want to give a big trigger warning for suicide. And we're going to be discussing the story Sharp Things Killing Things by A.C. Wise, which can be read at nightmaremagazine.com.
We recommend that you check it out. It's good.
Yes.
Disturbing, but good.
Disturbing, but very good. It's very, if you're into like the Guardian style fiction, I highly recommend.
Yeah.
It is a lot, but it is good. And just beware, there is a lot of suicide and measures of suicide. So this episode is going to deal with that. So if that's an issue for you, we understand if you can't listen. But we'll warn you before we get to the book, because before that we have the media rundown.
Yes, we do.
So there's too much shit out now.
There's so much shit on. It's not enough time to watch it all.
No, totally. Like legit, I've been watching I still haven't finished House of the Dragon. I got to do that. I'm liking that show a lot. This week I've been hooked on Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know we talked about behind the scenes, but this show is what Creepshow should have been.
I've heard people talk about that.
It's like all single standalone horror stories. A lot of them would tie into weird fiction and old school stories from the 1900s. They're creepy, they're macabre, they're trippy, they're weird, and they're actually scary. And it works really fucking well.
Okay, you said so far. Have you finished the series or?
I've seen every episode but the last one.
Okay. So I think you've said so far that the third episode is the best.
I think the third episode is my favorite. I really do enjoy the fifth episode, which is an adaptation of Lovecraft's Pickman's Model. Have you ever seen the movie Mandy?
You mean the one with Nicolas Cage?
Yes.
I've seen snippets, so I know what it's about.
Okay. The director of that movie directed one of the episodes of this, and it is one of the most trippiest things I've ever fucking seen.
I mean, Mandy is pretty trippy.
Yeah, Mandy's very trippy.
It's balls to the walls trippy.
Yeah, no, this is just like that, only it's a bit more subdued. So I'd say the best episode so far, the first two are pretty similar, and they're both really good. The first one's called Lot 36, and it's based on a Guillermo del Toro short. And it's about a man who is kind of a racist asshole prick type dude.
I've heard that. You were not supposed to root for him.
No, he buys an abandoned storage unit. And inside are old, ancient summoning books and other things worth of value, and maybe can connect us to the world beyond. And it just spirals out of control from there. The second one is about a man who is a grave robber, and he steals items from dead bodies, and he inherits a job that ends up getting him underground and fighting himself off against giant rats that are trying to eat him.
Oh, no.
The third one is the autopsy. Well, I also say the second episode, just for our listeners, Graveyard Rats, is based on the same short story by Henry Kuttner, Graveyard Rats, which was in 1933 publication of Weird Tales. Then the third one's the autopsy with F. Murray Abraham, and he's fucking awesome in it. But it's based on the short story of the same name by Michael Shea. And it's about this mortician who inherits a bunch of dead bodies from a sheriff who discovered them in the woods. And it flashes back and forth between like the past and how the sheriff found these bodies, what was going on, to the present, to what the mortician is discovering inside the bodies. And each body he cuts open, he gets closer to the truth, which might not be the best thing for him.
Oh, wow. That's so super interesting. Yeah. I need to restart watching it.
It's super, there's lots of intestines in that one. So just to give you a warning, you see a lot of cut open bodies with jiggly bits all flying everywhere.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
So that one you're going to see a lot of, I mean, it's the autopsy, but you're going to see a lot of bodies getting cut open in that one. Were you in the podcast? So we did the Emily Carroll book, or was that before you joined on?
I think it was before I joined on.
Do you know who Emily Carroll is? She did webcomics, like creepy webcomics, and she's moved on to like graphic novels and stuff. They adapt one of her stories in this called The Outside, which is one of the weirdest things the show has put out. It's good, but it's weird. It's about a woman who isn't your average typical woman. She's into taxidermy. She's kind of mousy. She's not what you see in as popular. And everyone makes fun of her, but her husband thinks she's perfect just the way she is. And she gets this bottle of goo that is promised will turn her into the person she wants to be the more she uses of it. And it follows her as she continues to use this goo to change herself into someone else who's more likable and better. And it's weird.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Then there's 2 Lovecraft adaptations. All I gotta say, Lovecraft, that's it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but yeah, the thing with the goo thing, it reminded me of the character in Lovecraft County.
Oh, yeah, that creature's weird.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird, yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting to get that kind of feel from it.
I mean, you're definitely going to feel uncomfortable most of the way through. But it's also kind of funny. There's a black humor that runs throughout that one. So, like, it's kind of like a morbid sense of humor as it goes along.
Okay.
And for Lovecraft, they did Pickman's Model, and I think they did an amazing adaptation of Pickman's Model, which is about this man named Pickman, who is a painter that everyone rejects because his paintings are dark, macabre, and surreal. And our main character who gets involved with Pickman and learns that Pickman's paintings might actually be true and open a window to a world beyond ours.
I love that.
And then there's
wasn't a video game like adapted from that?
I don't know if it was that one. Maybe it was.
I feel like it was like
an adventure game.
No. It was similar to like an amnesia.
Maybe. I'm not too sure.
Like when you say this, it reminds me of this. Like in that game, you had to.
Maybe Larry's
like an old. I can't remember the name of it. I'm so bad with video game names.
It's okay.
But yeah, I think like you had to go walk around in an old mansion, and in some of the rooms you discovered like these paintings, and most of the painting was basically you were like it wasn't like it wasn't finished. It's kind of it was a mix.
Yeah, that's Layers of Fear.
Yeah. It was probably that.
That's a great game.
Yeah, it was really good. It's really unsettling.
Oh, very unsettling. And the I'm just going to do 2 more, then I'll be done with this. But the next episode was Dreams in the Witch House, which they changed from the original, but it's about a man who watched his sister get pulled into a forest that isn't part of our world and spends the rest of his life finding a way. And he's played by Rupert Grint.
I'm so glad that he's like acting again.
And he's doing a lot of horror. Like he's doing lots of, like.
I know he's gonna be in Paul Tremblay's and Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin.
Yep, he's also he's in an Apple TV series called The Servant.
Oh yeah. I've heard about that one.
And I really enjoy that one. But he's great in this. He does a Boston accent. It's kind of funny.
Did he succeed?
I think he was trying to mimic like the whole like 1930s, 1940s American, like monotone, like American accent with like a Boston twinge, and it kind of works.
I mean, the Brits are pretty good at doing accents.
They are. So he did a really good job with that one. And then I just finished, legit 5 minutes before we started recording, I just finished The Viewing by Panos Cosmatos, who he did the Mandy. And everyone knows Mandy, but it is about a group of people who are played by Eric Andre, Charlene Yee, Steve Agee, Mr. Diebeard himself from Peacemaker, and Michael Theriault. And they all play mysterious people who are summoned to this house owned by Peter Weller, who plays this like ex-hippie guru type guy, and tells them that they're going to see something that nobody has ever seen before. And then they proceed to do a bunch of drugs as he gets them ready to see this mysterious thing that they're all called there to witness. And it is trippy and weird and a little disturbing, and it is wild. And it really captures, like, I've watched Cosmatos' movies, and he has a big disdain for like hippie culture and baby boomers, and it's fully on display in this episode.
So basically, he's just really shitting on it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and I think it's also. I mean, not that I haven't watched it or anything, but I definitely will. But when you're seeing or reading about something that people are, when there are hallucinogenic drugs, then you're like, how much of this is true? How much did you see? Or was it just all in your head?
Yeah. Oh, and this, it's all real. They're all seeing it. There's none of it in their head.
Oh, okay. Sure.
It is. Eric Andre was great in the short, though. Like I've mostly seen him do comedy, so it's kind of funny seeing him do like something different.
It's always great. I was just actually like in a conversation with one of my coworkers. We were just saying like and agreeing that people like directors and producers should just really continue to put like comedy actors into horror or thrillers because they are the ones who really bring it.
They are. Well, it's because comedy and horror and thrillers have a lot in common with each other.
Yeah, and they just brings out both the best and the worst in them. Like for example, like Adam Sandler, he's known for being a comedy actor, but one of his best works are when he's in thrillers, like in Uncut Gems or in Punch Drunk Love.
Uncut Gems almost gave me an anxiety attack when I was watching that movie.
A lot of my coworker, he said the exact same thing. He was like, I had to pause the film and just like go for a walk for 30 minutes just to get my heart rate down.
It is so intense. It's a great movie, but it's so fucking intense.
Yeah. I can, when I was sick, I was thinking of watching it, but when I saw the trailer, I was like, no, it's not going to help me.
Yeah, no, it's going to make you feel very anxious.
Yep.
It's great, but it's so, man. But no, you and your coworker are right. Like comedy actors always do a really great job when they bridge over to stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Jim Carrey in The Number 23, he was so unnerving in it.
Even when it was on acting, Jordan Peele going from comedy actor to like horror movie director.
Mm-hmm.
Like comedians,
because they can understand it.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I think it works really well. And this short,
basically. So if any directors are listening to this or any producer, just pour in the comedy actors. Like, let me see Jason Segel in a really fucked up psychological thriller.
Oh, that could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I do like me some Jason Segel. Put Seth Rogen in like a really fucked up horror thriller.
No. He's already done like with The End of the World. I don't know. Mm-mm.
Oh, that was the End of the World movie that he did?
Yeah, he was in that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was in that. That movie was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. And it was like supposed to be horror comedy, but I was like, you guys are leaning heavily into the comedy, though.
Oh, yes, it's much more of a comedy than anything else.
Yeah.
I think it's a hilarious movie, but I knew it was going to be more funny than than horror.
Yeah. Me too. I was like, when I saw the cast, I was like, yeah, this is not going to be horror.
No. But I will say, so far, Cabinet of Curiosities, if you're into like horror anthology shows, highly recommend. I also talk about American Horror Story, but I'll let you recommend a couple of things, Vilame.
Okay. So, well, I'll do a little bit of both. I'll do a little bit of a recommendation and also a little bit of ranting. um, but yeah, have you seen Smile yet?
Yes, I've seen Smile.
Okay. Did you like it?
I thought it was so. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was bad. It was kind of like a movie I've seen 100 times before.
Yeah.
Like if I was a teenager and I saw Smile, I think I would really like Smile a lot.
Yes,
but I've seen it like it's the same. It's It Follows. It's The Ring. It's The Grudge. It's all stuff that we've seen before.
Yeah, I didn't think there was nothing original about it.
No.
And I saw it in the cinema with the entire. It was filled to the brim. Like we almost didn't get seats. And
damn,
I noticed,
when I saw Smile.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of entertainment here, so going to the movies usually is what we do. And this was like, I think it was like a couple of days after it had been premiered. So yeah, that it would make sense that it was packed. But it was packed with, like you said, like a lot of young adults. And I went with my two brothers. They invited me. And, my brother, he is about 43. Yeah, me being 35 and my brother being 33. We were like, are we the oldest here?
Probably.
Yeah. And yeah, this is saying it had a lot of like jump scares and which for me weren't really effective because jump scares aren't anymore effective. What I think the director managed to achieve though is having like this unsettling music or like the soundtrack. That was unnerving for me. Like how he managed to put these music in it was unnerving to me.
The music was unnerving. I thought one scene that could have been really effective, but they ruined it by putting it in all the trailers.
Oh yeah.
The car scene when the head kind of pops down.
Yes.
That could have been a really effective scene if it wasn't spoiled in all the trailers for the movie.
Yes, I agree. And there was just one scene that I burst out laughing because I thought it was so ridiculous. Like they were trying so hard to make it creepy, but the poor actress couldn't do it at all. And I was like, nope, you're just making it hilarious. What are you doing? Stop it. Like at this point, I think that the director should have been like, maybe not smiling is a good thing.
Honestly, I thought the imagery was pretty creepy for some of the movie. Like the whole smile people. Sometimes that was really effective, and sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah, what I'm saying like is when you were seeing like the footages, when they were just showing glimpses of them smiling, I thought that was creepy.
Yeah, that was creepy. It's when they lingered is when I kind of lost it.
Exactly. Like that scene with her therapist, I thought it was ridiculous. I honestly was the only one who was laughing out loud because I was like, what is this? This is not funny. Like, this is not creepy. And then he also had to throw in like an Alien 3 reference in there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why? No one is going to get this unless, just for us old people here. Like the young people are not going to get this reference.
No, they're not.
And he also had like this weird fetish with turning the camera upside down. I was like, what was the deal with that? So it's like, are you trying to get us nauseous because you can't make us scared? I don't know. It was fine.
Yeah, like the thing is, like,
to me, I still felt like I probably wouldn't have paid money to go see it though. Like I would have seen it like if it was on Netflix or something.
Like, I think if I was like 13, 14 years old, I would have loved Smile.
Yeah,
But I'm 34 years old.
yeah, exactly. We've seen
I,
so much stuff.
yeah, and I don't think Smile's a bad movie. It's not
No,
original. It's not
yeah,
original at all.
yeah,
But it's just kind of like your passable entry level horror movie.
yes.
Or if you've been watching horror as long as Vit LeMay and myself have been watching horror, like we've seen like worse shit than this and scarier shit than
Mm-hmm.
this, and this is
Mm-hmm.
very tame in comparison.
Yeah.
Like I think, and this is part of my little rant when it comes to this stuff too. So in the States, they were advertising Smile in the movie theaters since
Mm-hmm.
like almost every movie I saw since May had a Smile trailer attached to it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, they were really advertising the hell out of that movie.
Damn.
But you know what movie they didn't advertise the hell out of, and they should have?
Barbarian.
Barbarian. Barbarian's a fucking great movie,
Mm-hmm.
and that needed the more of the support than I think Smile
But
got.
then again, you're like it's getting so much word of mouth right now. So I
Well,
think it's
yeah.
getting a lot more traction. So to me, I feel like that worked in their favor.
Oh, it definitely worked in their favor. But man,
Yeah, and
it would have been cool
like
seeing a packed
yeah,
theater for Barbarian.
true.
When I saw Barbarian, there was like 6 people in the theater, including me.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's bad.
yeah.
Damn, because this is like this is definitely my top favorite horror film of the year.
Yeah, well, you just saw it last week, so
Yeah.
you can tell the audience what you thought of Barbarian.
Well, I actually saw it like on Wednesday, I think. I really really liked it. Like I appreciated the fact that I did not go because this is what I usually do. Like if I see a trailer, I get excited, and and sometimes that hype just really kills it. And for me, not knowing anything about this movie, other than the fact that you just out of from the small info that you gave us when you first saw us, when you first saw it, I didn't have any expectations at all. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what was going to happen. So with that, kind of blank slate, it was amazing.
Yeah, like it's a movie people should know very little about going into it. I think
Yes.
like leaving it up to surprise, I think makes it work best.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think it also like I said with the word of mouth thing, because if there had been if there had been a trailer and it had been shown in so many movie theaters like that trailer, they probably would have put a lot more in it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that probably would have killed the hype and
totally.
killed the mystery behind it.
One thing I will say, and this isn't so much of a spoiler because it's in the basic premise of the movie, but I love, especially on the rewatch, because I watched it again last night.
Mhm.
I love when she gets to the Airbnb and
Mhm.
Pennywise is already there. Keith, he's always
Mhm. Mhm.
Pennywise to me. Um,
Mhm.
One, we're already meant to be creeped up by him because he's Bill Skarsgård, and
Mhm.
Bill Skarsgård tends to play creepy characters. So we see him, and
Actually, to be honest, I had no idea this was Bill Skarsgård, that it was Pennywise. I just looked at him and was like, "You look familiar," but at the same time, I didn't. I wasn't really like it wasn't bugging me that I didn't really recognize him. Just
yeah.
how he acted was super creepy.
Well, the thing is it creepy or is it just awkward? Because
No,
like,
it wasn't.
at
I did not. Sorry, like if it had been in like maybe in broad daylight, maybe yeah, I would have conveyed it as awkward. But this
yeah,
was in the middle of the night. She was alone. And then suddenly, when she, had gone to the bathroom, he just had two glasses and a bottle of wine ready on the table. I was like, nope, no, get the fuck out of there. This is not good. I
yeah.
just like my anxiety just went up, and I'm like, no, please just go, go, go. This is not going to end well for you. Please go, go, go.
But it's
So
like,
just that, it just, you had this coming in the movie, and then it suddenly takes a fucking 180 and you're just like what the fuck, and then it does another fucking 180,
Yeah.
and you're just like reeling from it. You're like, what is happening? And then it just gets more fucked up and more creepy and more unsettling as it goes on. And you're like, oh my god, what the fuck? And I love the fact that you're you kind of get two main characters, and one of the main characters you just absolutely despise.
Yes.
And I
And
love that.
well, I did love like the tape measure scene. That scene is still the funniest.
I know. We laughed about it as well when we were watching it, and I kept like saying, "What the fuck? Why aren't you looking around? Why aren't you scared? Why aren't you fucked up?"
I think
Like,
my favorite is he looks over, he sees something, and he's
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck?" And then he just measures and ignores. Like he just
Yes, he just shrugs it off and like, not my problem. I'm selling it anyway. Boop boop boop.
like that was the funniest shit.
Yes, because it threw you for a loop. You were like, wait, what? What?
Yep.
What happened? Where's the tone of the movie? And then it just and then they ram the tone back into your throat.
And Justin Long is really good as like a douchebag.
Yes, it's so funny because you remember him as a comedy actor again because he's a fucking comedy actor. And he always played this kind of wimp,
Yeah.
or like the underdog that you kind of always that you wanted to root for, but now you're like, fuck that guy.
He's been in two other horror movies, and he's kind of a dick in both of those too.
Oh yeah. I mean, in Tusk, he was awful.
And then Jeepers Creepers. I mean, he's not really too much of a dick in Jeepers Creepers. That's one of his first movies.
I know.
But we don't really talk
wait.
Jeepers Creepers anymore.
He wasn't the one who was by the director, was he?
No. The thing that happened with that director was back in the 80s.
Okay.
It was during his movie Funhouse is when
God.
the essay happened.
Yeah.
I'm not defending the director. I'm just saying, like, in Jeepers Creepers, him sexually assaulting a boy was kind of in that director's past. And also kind of like in an era of Hollywood, directors just kind of got away with that shit for a while. And actors were just kind of like had to take jobs that they could get. I'm happy that people find, because there were people who, because that director Jeepers Creepers got arrested for what he did, and he served jail time for what he did, and so people knew, and a lot of people even before it came out again were like, I'm never going to watch this guy's movies because he's a fucking sicko. Then Jeepers Creepers gained him more traction, but then also Jeepers Creepers made people look into him more and realize his past and what he did, and it became like, I think the creeper in Jeepers Creepers is a cool idea, but I think we should just let it die because there's those. But yeah, no, that was one of his first movies was Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah. I remember him from that. His death was awful. It's so funny because I actually thought he would survive, but then I was like, oh shit. Like the ending it floored me. I was like, well, fuck. That was awful. So yes, man. In regards to a good fucking horror movie, you guys, if you haven't already, and we have not been spoiling, hopefully not much, but you should definitely check out Barbarian.
Everything we said in this trailer, so we didn't really spoil much.
Yeah. And it's on HBO Max, and for those of you who are in Europe, it's on Disney Plus.
Sweet. Oh, go to Disney to see Barbarian. That's fucking awesome.
I know, it was so funny because I watched it on HBO Max and because I thought it was like, great, it's not going to be available here in Iceland or anywhere in Europe because it's fucking Europe. But then the next night when we turned on Disney Plus, it was like there, like the first thing that we saw, like the poster, like Barbarian. I'm like, oh, look at that.
Also, the person who wrote and directed Barbarian started off in a comedy group.
Yes, and I love that.
Yes, yeah, more comedians in horror. Like seriously.
Put more comedy people in horror because it definitely pays off.
Well, I will
So,
say. Oh,
so
you
for
go.
the rant, yeah. So for the
Yeah, the
rant
rants, the
part,
rants.
dear Lord, there's another one on
This
Disney.
Grimcutty.
On it's on Disney Plus. It's a Star original,
It's
apparently.
on Hulu in America.
Yeah, yeah. I think we get most of the stuff that's from Hulu. We get it through Disney Plus here in Europe.
Yeah, Disney owns Hulu, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Oh my dear, did you watch it?
I heard it is garbage.
It is absolute garbage. So
I
bad.
heard it's like the Momo Blue Dolphin meme scolding
Yep,
people about using the internet, taking a like holier than thou attitude about things,
yep,
and putting a shitty monster on it.
yeah, yes. It's basically they mashed together Momo and Slenderman, which
God
is
damn it.
awful. And yeah, it's basically that. It's like they have this kind of thing. If people don't remember, like people were like kids were freaking out around maybe about what, maybe 10 years ago or so, about Momo. Like if you shared this picture of Momo online or something, something bad would happen to you. So they're taking that exact same premise in Grimcutty, in which if you share like a link or something about this character Grimcutty, then you would start hurting yourself, or to the point that you would end up killing yourself, or to the point that you would end up killing a family member or something like that, which is like really fucking stupid. And this family, like the parents of this one girl, like teenage girl, um, she they take it to the extreme, and they think like if they don't take the phones from their children, something's bad is going to happen to them or something like that.
You're not
And
wrong.
I mean, yeah, but they put it like in what is called like a family box or something like that, like or like a no screen time box or something that they lock. Like they not only take their phones, but they take their computers and everything. And it's so funny because there's like, you do you really think this is going to stop them from going online? It's like they have computers at school in the library. They have their friends, and they definitely have a spare phone they can use,
Yeah,
or like a spare computer that they haven't used that but still kept. Because I would do that. I still have that. I have a loads of phones and a old laptop that we still use.
I have a drawer full of old phones.
Yeah. So it's like it's such a pointless thing for them to do. And the girl, apparently she sees this Grimcutty, and this is the thing that they're also so ridiculous, because they show the monster immediately. It's like they don't do any kind of build up to it, or make us question whether it's real or not. They just show it, and it's like attacks them.
Yep.
And and apparently it doesn't stop until the children hurt or kill their parents, because apparently it's the parents worry about the children that manifest this thing.
God damn it. That's
It's so, it's so fucking bad. It's so bad. I can't believe this was made into a fucking film.
I mean,
Oh,
honestly, a lot of shitty movies make it to film.
I know. It's so bad. I hate that. I was like, why can't you give other films better chance? I mean, you have loads of things here, and like that they can adapt into a better film than this.
You could take your books and make a better movie than that.
Yeah, they could. Yeah,
You
they do. Yes.
could do, but I think could be interesting. So,
Yeah.
like, I legit just thought of this just now. No lie. Take the moment,
Mm,
take the movie. You can make a found footage fake documentary to mimic the whole Momo thing.
mhm.
And don't break the fake documentary. Keep it a fake documentary about this Momo like urban legend and
Mhm.
how it's causing kids to kill themselves. And instead of being like, this is why giving kids the internet's a bad idea, you can have it be a whole commentary about internet culture and how internet culture fucks things up.
Mhm.
Like that's better than
The-
the Grimcutty being holier than thou about everything.
Yep. Yep. So I have one book that I want to recommend and that I just finished the other day, and it is so good. It's um it's the novella "This Is Where We Talk Things Out" by
I've
Caitlin Marceau.
I've heard great things about that novella.
It's so good. It's really good. It's a really short. It's about I think 90 pages long, so it's really short. But so you can definitely finish it within a day. I did, which is good because I'm such a fucking slow reader. But it is about this woman Miller who has this kind of a strange relationship with her mother Sylvie, and she decides like on a last ditch effort that she will go and spend the weekend in a cabin with her mother to patch things up because she has been just a terrible mother throughout the years, and it was her mother's suggestion and like basically her last plea, and Miller decides to do it because it's been not that long since her father died. So she's kind of thinking like, okay, my mother doesn't probably have any safety net, so I'll try to see if we can talk things out. And just right from the beginning, like right, just the minute Sylvie appears, things go to hell.
Bum,
I
um,
can't yeah, I can't really like spoil a lot of things, but like this mother is awful. Jesus fucking Christ. I was just getting really anxious for Miller because there were a lot of things that this mother said that reminded me of what my mom used to say to me as well.
fuck.
Yeah.
That's the
So
worst.
it did hurt. I was like, I'm relating a little bit to this character, and I was like, well, our relationship is better now, thankfully, but sometimes he still slips these unnecessary comments in between, and like Sylvie, she kind of masks it with sweetness.
Yep.
And and she doesn't, because she's so narcissistic, she doesn't understand that what she's saying is super hurtful, or she doesn't understand boundaries, and she kind of always like puts the shame on Miller, and also puts like the victim, basically trying to make herself be the victim. Like at one point she screams like, "You don't love me anymore because even though I'm doing all these things for you," and you're like, mm, "You heard these things before."
This book sounds really good though.
It's really good. Like if you like Misery, it has that element in it.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. So it like, because they're going in a cabin way up north in Canada, and there's a snowstorm, so they can't go anywhere. They're trapped in the cabin.
And the cabins they talk things out.
Yeah. Well, basically
I guess
for Miller
quotation
though.
marks around talk, but
Well, the thing is, for Miller, that cabin is her nightmare.
oh, okay.
Like, yeah, like I said, I can't say anything without spoiling. I mean, I haven't spoiled. Hopefully, I haven't spoiled anything too much. But that cabin was so fucked up,
I'm
and
right
I
now.
definitely understand her, like looking around and be like, "What the fuck is this?" And also like I knew the twist right away. I think the twist was kind of like predictable, but but it was okay because it works. So you're not too annoyed that you like figured it out immediately. But that ending was just holy fuck.
Sweet. Well, I'm putting it in my queue now. Maybe I can read it for next weekend if I have time.
Oh yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's so good, and like I said, Caitlin managed to build like she managed to put these realistic elements into it that you definitely relate one point or another in it.
Cool.
It's like you can either relate to the situation or to the or to Miller herself, and she does it really realistically, and I loved it. And it's kind of funny though because Caitlin is from Montreal. She's from Canada. And there was this one thing that really confused me when I was reading it. and I talked about it on Twitter, and I actually created this kind of discourse about it, and I did not realize. But in the book, Miller is shown wearing a thing that's called a house coat, and I was like, "What the fuck is a house coat?" I was like, "Is that a outdoor wear that you wear inside? What?" And I just jumped on Twitter, and I was like, "Caitlin, what the fuck is this?" And Caitlin, she was like, "Wait, what are you talking about? Is this not a thing? This is something that you wear, to feel cozy in the evenings and stuff." And I'm like, "You mean a rope?" or a dressing gown? And she's like, "Wait, is that what you call it?" I'm like, "Wow, I mean, this is what I heard from people living in Britain, because this is a common thing that people in Britain do, but in Iceland, no, we don't do that." And she was like, "I'm so confused. Really? I thought everyone had this."
That's pretty funny, actually.
It was super funny. And like a lot of people chimed in, and they were like, and they explained like what a house coat was. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's basically a rope." And they were like, "No. And they were like, no, it's made out of fleece, and it's really like in this kind of like checkered pattern." And I'm like, "Yes, a rope." And they're like, "No, but it's really cozy." And I'm like, "Yes, ropes are cozy. Yep. This is what you wear when you get out of the bath, or you as you described, you would have like a cozy evening." But this is not common in Iceland. I think because it's not common in Iceland because we have indoor heating. Like we have like this geothermal energy that we put on blast when during winter. So our houses are usually not cold, and if we feel like it's too warm, we just open up the windows.
Understandable.
Yeah, and if we feel cold, we would just put on a sweater. So
honestly,
I thought it was really funny. So I was like, house coat, interesting. I need to remember that if I'm gonna write a Canadian character.
House coat.
But yeah, I definitely recommend this book. It's super good. It's super short. It's intense and character driven, and the ending will fuck you up.
Perfect. Well, I don't know about the ending, but I have been watching the new American Horror Story season. What's your feeling about American Horror Story?
It's a mixed bag for me.
Me too. Sometimes I think it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't think it works that well.
Yeah. I think my favorite one out of the bunch is Coven.
Mine's the one everyone seems to hate, so maybe I'm not the best person to have this conversation. But my favorite is Roanoke.
Oh, interesting. I think it kind of feeds into the found footage thing, right?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, understandable. I haven't watched Roanoke.
Oh, it's really good.
I haven't watched. I think which one did I stop at? I think I stopped at Apocalypse.
Apocalypse was after Roanoke.
Huh?
Yeah, Apocalypse was the one that was the season after they did Roanoke. Because Apocalypse, they brought back the Coven characters.
Oh, yeah. That was one.
Yep. Yeah, Apocalypse wasn't that good. I thought it was kind of just meh.
Yeah, it was meh. I did like seeing the Coven characters come back. I think that was the only reason I watched Apocalypse. I was like, hey, the Coven characters, I like them. Put them back.
This new season is way more like grounded than I've seen American Horror Story ever. Like,
what's it called? What's it called again?
Called, New York City.
Okay.
There's no paranormal stuff. There might be some paranormal stuff, but the show hasn't made it paranormal. So I'm assuming something might be paranormal that might not be paranormal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does.
It's very grounded. They haven't really dipped into the paranormal aspect. It follows the gay community in New York in 1981, and a serial killer is targeting men in that community. And the police officers aren't doing anything to stop the murders.
Yeah, which is it's kind of keeping in line with what is happening.
Yep, and Dahmer. It's inspired by Dahmer. Ryan Murphy was involved in both. So it wouldn't
Of course.
surprise me if Ryan Murphy took some stuff from Dahmer in this. But the killers, the killings and stuff are a lot different than Dahmer. It's not like the killer is like this. They call him Big Daddy, and he's a giant leather man that wears a leather mask.
What is his? He has a huge fetish for that.
I'm pretty sure Ryan Murphy's into leather. Like I'm pretty sure that's his thing. And if it is, good for you, man. You got a song in your heart. You got to sing it loud. But
I mean, yeah. But at some point, you're kind of getting a little bit sick of it.
Yeah, like there's a lot of leather in this season of American Horror Story. It is very gay, but it's not like in your face gay. It's because like like sometimes in American Horror Story dipped into gay themes in the past. They kind of did it in like an edgy kind of way. This feels more normal. It feels like they're just normalizing a lot of it.
Okay.
It doesn't feel edgy. It doesn't feel exploitative. It feels like they're just showing the gay community, and this is gay people, and they hired all gay actors to play the gay characters as well.
Okay, I mean that's good representation.
And so it follows the main people it follows a man named Gino, who is the writer of a gay newspaper in New York, and Gino's boyfriend Patrick, who's a closeted gay cop that has some skeletons in this closet.
What time period is it?
1981.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
At the same time, a scientist finds a mysterious new virus that they're afraid is going to hop onto humans. So it's kind of like Dahmer meets AIDS crisis metaphors.
I think so, yeah.
1981 New York. It's good. The first 4 episodes are very thrilling, very interesting. I am not too sure where the show's going, but I'm very intrigued of where it's going. And Zachary Quinto plays an amazing asshole.
Well, he's actually kind of good at that too.
I love Zachary Quinto. He plays a art seller / cocaine addict who might be involved in the Big Daddy incidents that are happening around the city.
Has the other guy appeared yet? Oh, I can't remember his name. The good-looking one who was in Hotel. No. The one who was in Hotel.
Was Evan Peters in Hotel?
Evan Peters was, he played H.S. Holmes, of course. But this one, what was his name?
I'm looking this up right now, live on the air, audience. You're listening to me. Go to Wikipedia. I'm typing in Story Hotel.
He's a regular guest on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Is it
I can't remember. He has a really interesting name.
Cheyenne Jackson.
Cheyenne Jackson. Yes, it was him.
Yes.
He's in it, right?
Yeah, he's in Hotel. He's not in this season though.
Oh, but he's good.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's not in this season. This season, they have some returning actors. So if you're an American Horror Story fan, I will say you're going to notice what's her face, Billy Lord.
Colton?
So Billy Lord has a big character in this. Dennis O'Hare is also in this. Zachary Quinto, Leslie Grossman, and there's a couple other smaller actors, but I'd say those are the big returners. And then there's a bunch of new actors that they've gotten from American Horror Story for this.
All right.
But it's really good, and I highly recommend it. And the only other thing for me is I've been reading Where the Night Cowers by Matthew Bartlett, his new short story collection, and I'm a few stories in, and it's some of the best writing I've ever read from Bartlett. It's honestly incredible.
Oh, nice.
Some fantastic Ligotti-inspired short stories. Disturbing, disgusting, intriguing, and fucking dark. I highly recommend them.
I need to check them out.
But I think it's time we turn the page. I got my nice razor blade that I got from a TV advertisement. It's quick and sharp.
It's pretty good. I mean, I've got the mirror right here. Got ready.
So we're going to be discussing Sharp Things Killing Things by A.C. Wise. And I did not read the story before I chose it. I just was like, hey, let's look at Nightmare Magazine. Oh, this is the newest one they have up on the website. Let's go for it. I've read ACYs before. And holy fuck, is this a dark story?
Mm-hmm. It's so dark. And I loved how it was kind of like streamlined, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't go like you could have like you could have like read this in like one breath, if
Oh
you know
yeah.
what I mean.
It legit just it flows amazingly well. I
Yeah.
like how our characters are kind of burnout stoner assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have the sense of nihilism with everything around them.
Yeah. And
Uh,
it kind of I think it kind of correlates with, you know, today's situation.
yeah.
I mean, I can definitely see this happening and actually like be like a news cover footage like in the near future.
Yep. I just love I love the way I'll read just a few things, but I just love how she starts in the beginning is just like skip the first few paragraphs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just what the fuck? Josh said. Trey was already stomping on the brake, and none of us had to ask what the fuck Josh meant because we all knew the billboard felt wrong. And then if you sit to the billboard, it's just any way you slice it, our blades are the best. A cut so clean you won't feel a thing. Winston Blades.
Yep.
Like that's the most fucked up advertisement I think I've ever read.
I know. But at the same time, like it gets the point across in
Yeah,
a weird fucking way.
but then it gets into this town kind of feels like a Midwest factory town that
Mm-hmm.
all the jobs left overseas, the town suffering in severe poverty with the absence of all the jobs.
Yeah.
And the absence of the jobs are the ghosts that haunts over this town. The jobs being the Winston Blades are kind of like the ghosts that hover over the town and haunt the town.
Mm-hmm. And apparently that factory didn't just manufacture razor blades, it manufactured a lot of things.
It did manufacture a lot of things, and razor blades, and mirrors,
And mirrors and guns and
and
just
pills.
all of the things that you would purchase on a regular basis. I don't know. It was like a weird ass factory to have there.
Yes, and when these billboards start appearing, people begin to start committing suicide.
Yeah.
And
Basically, I got like a really fucked up version of like the happening. You know what I mean?
yeah, I can see that happening. Or you ever see the Japanese movie Pulse?
No. Was it? Is it more? Is it like similar to Suicide Club or?
No, it's different than Suicide Club. It's like so I have a trunk novella that I might release one day that I kind of rip off Pulse with. So shh. But Pulse is about a world where the dead begin emailing the living, and those who use the internet to access email and communicate with the dead get so filled with dread and despair that that they just will sit and do nothing until they rot away into nothingness.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember you telling me about it. Yes, sounds really good.
It is really good, but it's also really fucked up. And the idea is just like this whole like suicide epidemic. Or what was that book that we read? The suicide book that I had us read last year. The
Was I there?
Pierre Yeager. Were you with us when we read the Pierre Yeager book?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's a great book. It was a book we read last year. I forget the name right now. That is about a suicide epidemic infecting a small town. And just follows teenagers as they're watching every morning. They wake up. Oh, there's more bodies hanging from the bridge, and it just kind of follows just how this world affects these kids as they grow up. But our kids are fucked in this story from the beginning.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the beginning, they're not that how to say worried about the
They're
first string of
apathetic.
suicides.
Yeah, they're apathetic towards everything.
They're really apathetic. Like they just like look at it and like shrug and then just get stoned.
Yep. Until
But
they
then,
go to the ruins of the factory.
yeah, basically until there's this new friend that joins them.
Yes. And
I loved that one. It was like as a reader you knew there was like an ominous feel to it, especially because they didn't recall ever inviting him over.
yeah, he just kind of showed up.
He just showed up and said, "Hey, I got the good weed. Can I tag along?" And they're like, "Well, he
Fuck
has a
yeah,
weed, of course." Yeah.
we like weed. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
then
then,
some weird ass shit. Like,
yeah. And it was funny though, like they start to get more worried when it kind of affects the people that they kind of know, like basically from their school. Like
yes,
there was one from the track team who killed themselves, and they were like, "Wait, that's weird. I mean, he had a bright future ahead of him. He wasn't like us. He just, he could have gotten out of this town and lived a pretty fucking awesome life." So at that point, they start to like, wait, there's something weird going on.
yes. And the further the story goes, the more we learn about them in their past. And
Yeah.
our main characters have done some fucked up shit in their past.
Yes.
And
Yeah, especially it is like it becomes more obvious when the girl kills herself.
yes, that was
Then
fucked
you
up.
that was so fucked up. And then you just like when they talk about like, oh yeah, we used to talk about fantasizing about her, and we used to like write mean fucking shit about her, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I just kind of like stopped and like, and you didn't think that might have been the cause of it, you assholes?
And I guess like this one kid liked her the most, and he was one who wrote the meanest shit about her.
Yep, I got like incel like stink from it.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you a joke? Well, not a joke. This happened to me a couple weeks ago that I think you'd find
Sure.
funny. I'm working
Okay.
a bookstore job. You mentioned incel. I was thinking this now. And
Okay.
this kid came to me and he asked me if I could point him to a book to help him become an alpha male.
No.
And it took every inch of me to not laugh in his face. I wanted to laugh in
Did
his
did
face so
did
bad.
did you did you give him a book about feminism?
No, I just said, I kind of nigged him a little bit. And I said, with that jawline, you're not going to be an alpha. And he just kind of walked away.
Whew. Oh my god.
But no, those people are fucking stupid. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
do get incel vibes from these people, and the whole like incel alpha male people are fucking idiots.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I do get a sense of sympathy with the kids in the story, despite the fucked up shit they did, because part of it is like their environment they grew up in fucking sucks.
True.
Like they have no future. Their past is ruined. Like their
Well,
lives are aimless.
the thing is about I disagree with the thing that you mentioned that the future is ruined because how can it be ruined when nothing has
That's
happened to it
true.
yet?
I will
So
say,
it's kind of like they voluntarily think it's ruined
yeah,
because they've kind of decided on that despite that they could have done something.
yeah, it's the nihilism that represents factory Midwest towns in America.
Yeah.
All the jobs left, there's an overwhelming sense of poverty and depression and sadness. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people give into nihilism because it's like they got nothing no more.
Yeah.
And it's a common thread throughout a lot of like there's a part of America we call the Rust Belt. And it's a common thread through a lot of the places in the Rust Belt that all the manufacturing jobs went overseas and everyone lost their jobs. And they
Mm-hmm.
recovered from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've heard about that.
So like I get the sense like that the story takes place in an area like that because of just how it feels with how the characters
Mm-hmm.
act. But they also do mean shit to each other too. Like
Yeah.
every time the billboards appear, worse and worse shit happens. Like
Mm-hmm.
the first billboard appeared, you had a couple suicides. You had like a couple of their classmates kill themselves. I think of the first billboard, one of the teachers might have killed himself, or was it the second billboard?
It was the second billboard.
Second billboard, yeah.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. So the first billboard appears, and it's about the razor blade that can slit your throat without any pain. The second billboard appears, and it's just loose lips sink ships, sew up your secrets with Winston needles. They're the sharpest.
Yep.
And that also comes into play in this in this section.
Yeah, it does.
But I also feel. Oh, you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the thing with. I really felt bad and just started to feel like really unsettled, especially with a teacher, because this was a teacher you saw in how it was written that he wanted to make a difference to the students.
Yes.
But like you mentioned, them being so nihilistic and just apathetic and not caring at all, it's just like it was useless to him, and I felt really bad about that.
Oh yeah, and it was like what happened to her was fucking terrible. All right, not terrible. What happened to him was fucking terrible. And he just wanted to. He seemed like a good guy. Like he seemed like he was a good person, and the world ate him up and spit him out.
Yeah.
And also then with the Christie suicide, with argument characters writing shit about her. I don't remember them talking shit about this teacher though. It seemed like they're just more apathetic to everything. But some kids definitely fuck with this teacher.
Yeah, it's not mentioned, but I think it is kind of implied.
It's a little bit implied. It could go either way because it says the only thing that's really implied is like he drove a Volkswagen, and 1 year some guys carved the word faggot into his driver's side door, and he had to pay a lot of money to get rid of it. But he didn't press charges, even though everyone knew who the boys were. So it's either that is referring to our characters, because there is a point where they refer themselves as a third person, as the boys.
Yeah.
Or it could be somebody else.
Yeah, but I kind of get the feeling that it was them.
It was probably them.
Because at the end of the ending kind of hit with me because it ends with it makes sense because it was something that we would know.
Yeah. Also, the way the kid and like the ice was kind of fucked up. Super fucked up. I also like how. Oh, you go.
Yeah, no, just saying this. I was thinking about this. It's so fucked up.
It's really fucked up. I do applaud her for taking the point of view of the bullies. I think not everybody would go with that point of view for this kind of story. So I do think it's a fresh kind of perspective.
I know, especially because they aren't exactly denying it that what they did was what they did, but they are kind of like just being apathetic about it. Just like, yeah, we did it, so who fucking cares? It didn't hurt anyone. Like they give us that approach.
Yeah, and when they go camping, that shit's too much for them. Especially because the new friends telling them the story. And that's so fucked up.
Yeah.
It's just like they just hardcore bullied somebody, almost killed the kid.
Yep.
And then it just ends with him maybe talking about himself at the end.
I think it was, yeah.
It gets into like this whole like how the perspectives change, but then we get the third billboard, and it's just see no evil, look in the mirror. Winston crystal clear glass always shows the real you. And that's when we found out Ryan killed himself. And we kind of learned that like the billboards are making everybody, not just the main people in our town, they're making everybody reflect on themselves. And the billboards, like our characters are seeing them, the advertisers talking to themselves, and they are, because their characters did fucking shit, but other people are killing themselves. So like it's kind of like all these people are fucked up. And these advertisements are reaching all these people and causing all this death. And our characters you go.
Yeah, and it just keeps going, like, because it usually like not usually, like in the story there are only 3 billboards.
Yeah.
But it gets continually worse after one of their friends, like one of their own, like one of the bullies kills himself.
Yeah.
So it like the point of view kind of shifts, and it's like it's always now talking about after the funeral of this guy.
Yeah, but it's like 4 days after the funeral, we prayed even though none of us had been to church in years. 5 days after the funeral, we got blackout drunk on cheap vodka we stole from the liquor store. 6 days after the funeral, we finally, each of us alone in the private darkness of our rooms, broke down and cried. 7 days after the funeral, we drove into the woods. We screamed we were sorry at the top of our lungs. If there were bones we could lay to rest, we would. If we could show our sorrow, we would carve it into our skin. We didn't mean it, we swear. We'll never do it again. We should stitch our mouths closed if we can make it stop. Make it stop, please. 10 days after the funeral, it doesn't matter what we do. A long time ago, a man built a factory in the outskirts of the middle of nowhere, fuck all to do town. The factory produced sharp things, killing things in glass, so we could see ourselves. We didn't like what we saw. We tried to outrun it, pretend we were strong, the hunters, not the prey. But all the while we carried our ghosts with us, just under the surface of our skins. Now they haunt us. They will never let us go. They will hound us and bully us to the ends of the earth to prove that they are stronger, that they don't need us anymore. They're not afraid. It doesn't matter if they're real or not, they're real to us, and they will never stop. They will never let go. We know, we understand them, because it sounds like something we would do.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's just it's such a gut punch of an ending.
It really is.
And I had no idea what to expect of this story going in, but I fucking love it.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot. One thing I will say as an American, because I think some of this might get lost in translation from like America to other cultures, but just as an American, this just captures like the blue collar, nihilistic, abandoned town feel so well.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you haven't really gone deep into like what American culture is, because it is multi-layered.
Yes.
And in this story, you get like this one layer of American culture.
That is one of the more negative aspects of this country, and that is all the fact. And this happened where I grew up too. Like I grew up in a area called East Bridgewater, and East Bridgewater is actually a pretty wealthy town, like middle class. But next to East Bridgewater was Brockton, and Brockton, Massachusetts is kind of infamous. It was once the shoe factory maker of America. So like all the major shoe companies had factories in Brockton, and shoemaking was the number one employment in that city. But then all the shoe factories went overseas, and everybody lost their jobs. And the city fell into very deep poverty. And it's recovering now, but it took 30, 40 years to pull it out of that poverty it was put into.
Yeah,
and like
definitely.
You see that you see that happen in a lot of places in this country, and you won't really think of America in that way if you just kind of focus on the movies that kind of come out of America and stuff.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you can see it like it there. Like they don't show it like blatantly, but you know, if you've been like consuming a lot of American films like I have, like you get it.
Oh yeah, totally. Like even in Barbarian, when you just have the rundown Detroit suburb.
Yes.
Even though they filmed that movie, I think in Poland.
Wait, it was in Poland?
Yeah, they filmed it, I think, in Poland. But it's supposed to be Detroit.
I mean, I thought this wasn't Detroit. I mean,
they say Detroit in the movie.
I know they do, and and I actually mentioned this because when she goes out in the middle of the day and sees how run down the neighborhood, I was like, yep, that sounds about right. And then once she goes into downtown Detroit, I'm like, oh, that's a whole lot of difference here.
It was filmed in Bulgaria.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, they filmed it in Bulgaria.
Huh.
But they also built the all the exterior rundown building shots.
Yeah.
Those were shot in Detroit.
Okay, that makes sense.
Shots with the actors were shot in
Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Okay. Because because I felt that was like an accurate representation of what like I mean I think Detroit is on the mend right now, right? Like it is rebuilding itself.
We can ask Matt when he returns from London.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Matt lives in Michigan, so he can let us know.
Wait a minute. Oh yeah,
What?
there was also one thing that I wanted to ask Matt. It has to do, if you've been watching Unsolved Mysteries, there is one show that like focuses heavily on Michigan.
Oh, we can talk with Matt about that when he gets back.
Yes, we need to do that.
Anyway, Matt, you're editing this, so you're going to know to prepare with your
Yeah.
Detroit, Michigan unsolved mystery options.
Yes.
But going back to Sharp Things, Killing Things, this AC Wise is definitely one to look out for.
Oh yeah. I mean, she wasn't her short story collection like nominated?
Yes.
It was
And
nominated for Stoker, right?
I think it was a Stoker.
Yeah.
And she's just a fantastic writer. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the way she wrote this. I got this kind of Stephen Graham Jones feel to it, like
a
how
little bit.
streamlined and how well it flowed.
It flowed incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like our characters kind of talk like real teenagers talk.
Yes, they did.
Like,
Yeah, it felt like we were actually reading about teenagers.
it did. And I will say
And
this,
I think that's also one of the unsettling part, because I mean, when you were a teenager, you were apathetic, but
yeah.
not to this level. At least in my case, I was not.
No, not to know
But
what they are. But I feel like the apathy and nihilism is the main theme of this story, where it's like
mhm,
the environment creates the person.
yes,
Like
it's definitely like nature trumps nurture in this case.
yeah, it's like our characters are the way they are, not by choice. I mean, they choose to be assholes, yes, but like
Hmm.
their environment raises them in a way where they end up being nihilistic, apathetic kids, and nihilistic, apathetic kids do fucking asshole shit.
They do. They do. It's just, it's just fucked up. Especially now in this environment, like seeing the rise of young people assaults is just awful.
Oh yeah, it's
Like it's been on the rise here in Iceland, and I'm really worried. Like there was now, I think last week, like a couple, just 14-year-old boys, they just attacked 7 and 8-year-olds just
oh,
for the
that's
fuck of
awful.
it.
Those bastards.
Yeah, it's just like this is getting way out of hand, and I'm getting super worried.
Well, I'll fly to Iceland and be your personal bodyguard.
I mean, I should be fine because I'm just like, I'm a hermit. I don't go outside anymore,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter. But I feel bad for the kids because we're not supposed to be raised in fear.
No, we're not. And those kids that like deal with this, like it's only gonna get worse for them. Like,
Yeah.
but and I think that's kind of the whole thing with the story is the events of the past shape who we become. And sometimes we like what we become, sometimes we hate who we become, and we keep on trying to push away the real us, causing more harm to other people.
True, but it's also kind of like we were talking about the choice. Like, yeah, the past can shape us, but we can also try to repent for what we did in the past. Because for some,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter like what happened in the past. But if you like show true remorse and base your actions upon it, you can be redeemed. But in this case,
Yeah.
like in this story, that was not going to happen.
But I think this has been a really good discussion. I think our audience should go and check out this story. You can read it on Nightmare Magazine.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And just read more from AC Weiss because she's killing it.
Oh yeah, totally.
She has some sharp things to show you.
Read her stuff. It is fucking great. And where can listeners get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me on Twitter at VitleMyS.
And you can get in touch with me on Twitter at Rudy53088. And be sure to give Abyss a follow with that into staring. And this is Richard Gerlach saying keep staring.